starts now.
Good evening, I'm Destiny Patterson. Thanks for watching our weekend edition of KSLA News 12. Let's get you caught up. A woman is in critical condition tonight after an early morning fire. Around 7:30 this morning, firefighter crews with Shreveport arrived to the Eastwood on the Bayou neighborhood in the 3500 block of East Lake Drive. They immediately started search and rescue efforts, and that's when they found the woman. She was taken to the hospital, and at this hour, crews are investigating what may have caused that fire. And following this week's storms that rolled through the Arklatex, our sister station KAIT in Jonesboro had to shelter in place as a tornado touched down on Friday. Take a look.
In the newsroom right now, let's go ahead and take cover now. So we're going to go ahead and tell everybody to take cover, get in the middle hallway. All right, so we're going to take our crew's taking cover right now. Don't worry about us. We will eventually take cover also when it gets a little closer. Notice the new radar scan has this right here now. Let me clear this off of here. Let's take a look at the winds. This is the tornado right here. I'm pretty confident that if it's not down right now, it's going to be really close.
Now, the news crews did take shelter as both of the meteorologists continued to provide coverage. I mean, I can only imagine what it felt like to be in the newsroom as they were talking about this tornado that it appeared to be coming straight towards them. But Jessica, I understand that you have some news to let us know about in terms of severe weather for Easter.
That's right, Destiny. Thank you. I mean, I couldn't imagine either. I know that must have been a very stressful and pretty scary time, but I'm glad they all made it out safely and that Ryan was still there to cover it all. Here's a look at what we're looking at on your Easter Sunday. Unfortunately, we do have severe weather, but severe weather on Easter in the Arklatex, not that big of a surprise. But if you're headed out tomorrow, maybe either for sunrise service or for just Easter throughout the day, the morning is going to be nice, but the afternoon, that's when we'll see showers and storms spark up, and that's why we do have the severe weather risk. Slight risk for East Texas, marginal stretching from Texarkana down towards Longview, Nacogdoches, Panola, and Shelby counties in East Texas. So we'll go over the timing and the impacts a little bit more in your full forecast. Taking another look at your rainfall right now with satellite and radar, we still have a few clouds out there, but we do not really have much in the way of rain. A lot of that continued to dry up over the last couple of hours. Temperatures right now, kind of a big difference here. 62 right now in DeQueen, as warm as 70 in Mount Pleasant. 72 though for Marshall, Texas, as well as Shreveport. Low 70s in Mansfield and Natchitoches. Very warm, mainly near I-20 and southward, but it does look like Bienville here in some of that green. So maybe in the upper 60s like Minden and Homer. As we head into the overnight hours, temperatures will fall into the low to mid 60s, some areas 50s. But as you head out the door tomorrow, probably won't need your umbrella, but in the afternoon, going to be a different story. We'll check that out all in your full forecast coming up.
Tonight, we know the name of a man and a woman who died in a murder-suicide in Shreveport's Highland neighborhood on Friday. The shooting happened on Adkins Avenue. That's where police found 47-year-old Angie Anders. She was sitting in a crashed car with a gunshot wound. She later died at the hospital. Meanwhile, her boyfriend, 58-year-old William Cherry, barricaded himself inside a nearby home. After a standoff that lasted several hours, the special response team entered the home and found Cherry dead from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Well, early voting is underway this weekend for Louisiana's municipal runoff election on April 30th. Along with 2 runoff races, the Caddo and Bossier Parish school boards have propositions on the ballot. So let's take a look. Both school systems have property tax renewals going before voters. These fund everything from salaries to general building maintenance to school bus upkeep. They say none of the propositions raise taxes. A similar school sales tax renewal is also up in Natchitoches Parish. Other races include mayoral runoffs for Mansfield and Natchez. Early voting started today and it lasts a week except for Sunday. You can vote from 8:30 until 6 at your parish registrar of voters office. Arkansas Governor Asa Hutchinson attended a recent law enforcement training graduation in Jonesboro, Arkansas, to talk about more pay for officers. Governor Hutchinson wanted to address several things in his speech. One of those was law enforcement stipends. He recently signed a law that would grant $5,000 stipends to full-time law enforcement officers, including recent graduates. The governor says he hopes this helps remedy the shortage of officers in the state.
We want to pay our law enforcement a better living wage. We want to make sure that we recruit talented officers and to set an example for our local governments that they will evaluate what they need to do in terms of the pay of the public safety officers.
The governor added the stipend also helps as a recruiting tool to retain and get more officers. Now, we got a chance to speak to Governor Hutchinson while he was in Texarkana about what's next after his term is up. The governor told us his term is over. Once his term is over, he plans to continue being a conservative voice. Although 2 years down the road, we asked if he was eyeing a run for the White House.
But then I do look at the future, and I want to be a voice for common sense conservatism, and so expect my voice to be on the national stage, hopefully leading our country, and be a voice for some common sense conservatism that I think our country needs.
Meanwhile, Hutchinson says he wants to finish strong as a governor, growing the economy and workforce education for the state of Arkansas. Easter weekend is here and seafood sales are on the rise. Crawfish businesses in the Arklatex expect plenty of you to buy mud bugs. Yesterday, Shavers Catering told us they typically sell more crawfish Easter weekend than any other time during the year.
So today's Good Friday, and so many people eat seafood and they don't eat meat on Good Friday, and so they do crawfish bowls. And then throughout the whole weekend, though, it's just there's so many people, and they get together with family and do crawfish bowls in the backyard, and it's just a huge weekend for them.
Shavers Catering says they expect crawfish prices to go down after this weekend. Now, people are having Easter egg hunts across the Arklatex. KSLA News 12's Jade Myers shows us how the Stoner Hill community celebrated or is celebrating the holiday.
This may look like a typical Easter egg hunt, but Charleste Cotton said it's more than having fun.
We're doing it to come out and spread God's love throughout the community. I think that, we get so caught up in Easter and the getting dressed up for church and doing the Easter speeches that we don't realize that the biggest message was Jesus gave his life for us.
Cotton said God got her through cancer, so she created a nonprofit called A Sincere Experience to share her story.
I myself was diagnosed with ovarian cancer in 2019, but we're survivors, and we believe that God allowed us to survive to be able to spread his love and his message throughout the community in different ways. So this is one of the ways that we chose to do that.
Charleste teamed up with SPAR and St. Mary AME Church to bring a sincere Easter in the community.
We want to just show people that God loves them, and the best way for us to do that is to show that we love them by coming and meeting them where they're at, having a good time, bringing out the game truck, getting the fire department out here, giving away food, and just letting people know that, hey, God is not just stuck in the building, but he's willing to serve outside, and his people are too.
Jade Myers, KSLA News 12.
Now, at that event, people received free food along with prizes. Over in Greenwood, children were also on the hunt for Easter eggs. The town of Greenwood teamed up with the Greenwood Support Agency and Daddy's Produce to put on that event, an event in memory of Eileen Fields. Fields was well known in the community for wanting to help out children and the elderly. Her family says she hosted an Easter egg hunt every year.
She was always there for everyone. So how could you forget a person who always took care of everyone else?
Families need to be together. The adults need to spend time with their kids, and that helps keep them on the right path and steer them in the right direction.
Fields died just one day after Thanksgiving of 2021, and her family says they plan to continue her humanitarian efforts.
Well, if you have any Easter egg hunts planned for tomorrow, stay tuned with the forecast. Showers in the plan for tomorrow. We'll track it out hour by hour coming up next.
Plus, we'll tell you how they're celebrating the holiday at the White House. And as Ukraine continues to resist the Russian invasion, the war's toll is becoming all too apparent to the country's citizens.
Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome back. We're talking about Easter Sunday. We do have the threat of severe weather. It's on the lower end, level 2 out of 5 here. That slight risk across parts of East Texas. Areas included Claiborne Parish, Webster, Bossier, all the way down to Natchitoches Parish. Behind that, stretching from Prescott, Arkansas into Texarkana, Magnolia, and most of East Texas, just under a marginal risk. That's a level 1 out of 5. If we take a look at this with Future Track, here's a look at 6 a.m. If you're headed to any sunrise services early tomorrow morning, things are looking to be mostly dry here with Future Track. Maybe a couple of light showers on your day, but again, most of us will continue to remain dry with cloudy skies as we start our day. As we go into the afternoon, that's when things start to change a little bit. We'll have some showers, maybe some storms right along the I-30 corridor and areas off to the north, looking at showers. This is around 12:30 or so. This will push to the south as we go throughout the rest of your afternoon. 2 o'clock, this starts to push in to northwest Louisiana, continues to push into East Texas. So if you're on the I-30 corridor, thinking around 2 o'clock, should be mostly dry, maybe a stray shower behind it, but should be mostly dry. It's not going to be an all-day thing, so if you do have any Easter egg hunts planned or any other outdoor activities, wait for the showers to pass through, and although the ground will likely still be wet, at least it'll be on the dry note. So this line of showers starts to push into northwest Louisiana around 2 o'clock. By about 4, should be exiting its way out of the very eastern half of our viewing area. 5, 6 o'clock, we're looking to be mostly dry from the showers that associated with that front. So by the evening hours, things are looking good to go. So if you can hold off to around 6 and 7 where things are dry, that's going to be good as we head into the rest of your evening, your Easter evening. Now, as far as the threats that we're concerned with going into Easter Sunday, tornado threat remains low but not zero. Main threats or concerns are going to be for damaging wind gusts and the potential for some hail, some of that on the large side. So I'll be paying attention to that for you as you go throughout your day and giving you guys alerts whether we see anything that could potentially be dangerous for your Easter Sunday. Tomorrow, temperatures in the upper 60s around 6 a.m., warming to the low 70s by 9 and noon. Low 70s continue late afternoon. Winds will shift and be out of the northwest tomorrow. Going to feel a little bit nicer out there. Here's a look at highs. As you can see, there's going to be this boundary here, keeping temperatures a little bit tomorrow only in the mid 60s in Idabel and DeQueen. I should probably travel there. It's going to feel like very nice and comfortable. Upper 60s to low 70s here in Shreveport, back towards Minden. Low 80s for Manny and Natchitoches. Here's a look at your first alert 12-day forecast. Easter Sunday, warm, stormy, could be strong to severe storms that day. We'll drop off into the mid 70s. We'll drop off the rain and warm into the mid 70s Monday and Tuesday. Wednesday is looking like our next best chance of rain. 50% chance right now on Wednesday, 20% chance on Thursday. Temperatures will be in the low to mid 80s Wednesday and Thursday. Friday and Saturday, much warmer. Highs in the upper 80s.
Russia renews attacks following the sinking of one of its key warships. And as the war drags on, the toll on civilians is becoming all too apparent. We have to warn you that some of the images that you're about to see may be disturbing for some viewers. CBS's Holly Williams reports.
It's not just Ukrainian civilians in the firing line, but their children. Nina Shevchenko lost her 15-year-old son Artem in a Russian attack. Please, she says, open your eyes, my bunny, please. But instead, Artem is taken away in a body bag. Karolina Fursova is physically unhurt, but she's seen things no child should ever have to. There was an explosion, she says. Shrapnel was flying and cracking. Some woman covered me with her body. Russian forces didn't capture Ukraine's capital, Kyiv, plagued by military failures and a Ukrainian resistance much tougher than many expected. But in eastern Ukraine, they're still being pummeled from the air and bracing for a fresh assault as Russian forces regroup. In the southern city of Kryvyi Rih, officials say they managed to stop Russian forces seizing control of this strategically important airport at the start of the war. Their plan was low-tech but ingenious, parking trucks and construction vehicles on the runway.
And this one looks like a mining truck down here.
This mine truck.
Mining from one of the local mines.
Yes.
Alexander Vilkul is the head of the military administration and told us it was his idea.
Did the Russians actually try to land here?
On the second day of the war, a cargo plane and 3 fighter jets tried to land, he told us. They descended to about 200 meters, made a few circles, and once they realized they couldn't land, they left. With Ukrainian forces massively outgunned by Russia, they've made up for it with smarts and creativity. But Vilkul told us they can't win the war without more weapons from the West.
What do you need?
We need fighter jets, tanks, missiles, he told us, the whole spectrum of weapons. In a new video message, President Zelensky said that the length of this war and how many Ukrainians are killed will be decided in part by how quickly Ukraine's friends supply it with weapons. Holly Williams, CBS News, Vinnytsia, Ukraine.
In South Carolina, 12 people were hurt during a shooting at a mall today. 10 people were hit by gunfire and 2 were hurt during a stampede, according to Columbia Police. The victims ranged in age from as young as 15 to as old as 73. Police have taken 3 armed suspects into custody, but it's not clear how many people fired a weapon. Investigators do not believe the shooting was a random act. Coming up next, we'll have sports with our sports director, James Hadnot.
News 12 starts now.
Tonight, a woman is in critical condition after an early morning fire. Around 7:30 this morning, Shreveport fire crews arrived to the Eastwood on the Bayou neighborhood in the 3500 block of East Lake Drive. They immediately started search and rescue efforts, and that's when they found the woman, and she was taken to the hospital. At this hour, crews are still investigating what may have caused that fire. Following this week's storms that rolled through the Arklatex, our sister station, KAIT in Jonesboro, had to shelter in place as a tornado touched down on Friday. Take a look.
In the newsroom right now, let's go ahead and take cover now. So we're going to go ahead and tell everybody to take cover. Get in the middle hallway. All right, so we're going to take our crew's taking cover right now. Don't worry about us. We will eventually take cover also when it gets a little closer. Notice the new radar scan has this right here now. Let me clear this off of here. Let's take a look at the winds. This is the tornado right here. I'm pretty confident that if it's not down right now, it's going to be really close.
Now, the news crews did take cover as shelter as both of the meteorologists continued to provide coverage. Early voting is underway this weekend for Louisiana's municipal runoff election on April 30th, along with 2 runoff races. The Caddo and Bossier Parish school boards have propositions on the ballots. Both school systems have property tax renewals going before voters. These fund everything from salaries to general building maintenance to school bus upkeep. They say none of the propositions raise taxes, and a similar school sales tax renewal is also up in Natchitoches Parish. Other races include mayoral runoffs for Mansfield and Natchez. Early voting started today and it lasts a week except for Sunday. You can vote from 8:30 until 6 at your parish registrar of voters office. Arkansas Governor Asa Hutchinson attended a recent law enforcement training graduation in Jonesboro, Arkansas, to talk about more pay for officers. Governor Hutchinson wants to address several things in his speech. One of those was law enforcement stipends. He recently signed a law that would grant $5,000 stipends to full-time law enforcement officers, including recent graduates. The governor says he hopes this helps remedy the shortage of officers in the state.
We want to pay our law enforcement a better living wage. We want to make sure that we recruit talented officers. and to set an example for our local governments that they will evaluate what they need to do in terms of the pay of the public safety officers.
The governor added the stipend also helps as a recruiting tool to retain and get more officers. Now, we got a chance to speak to Governor Hutchinson while he was in Texarkana about what's next for him after his term is up. The governor told us that once his term is over, he plans to continue to be a conservative voice. Although 2 years down the road, we asked if he was eyeing a run for the White House. Take a listen.
But then I do look at the future, and I want to be a voice for common sense conservatism, and so expect my voice to be on the national stage, hopefully leading our country, and be a voice for some common sense conservatism that I think our country needs.
Meanwhile, Hutchinson says he wants to finish strong as governor, growing both the economy and workforce education for the state. An alert tonight about your money and some important reminders as the deadline to file your taxes looms. Experts say there are steps all taxpayers can take to make this process smoother. So here are some tips for you. Make sure that you're being accurate and you don't guess. That means that you shouldn't estimate or expect the IRS to fix any mistakes. Also, make sure that you're filing electronically if you can, and electronically deposit your tax refund. Now, there are a lot of benefits on the table, but you may need help from a tax expert.
Child credit, dependent care credit, earned income credit, education credits, those are all big, all complicated, all very pro-taxpayer, but they're not automatic check a box and get a big check.
Taxpayers have until this coming Monday, April 18th, to file. An estimated 80 million people have waited until the last minute to do that. One man in Shreveport is launching a program to help the youth in the community get on the right track. Ricky Evans is the co-founder of Brothers Helping Others, and today that program held their very first meeting. Attendees learn life skills like conflict resolution and financial literacy, among other subjects. Evans explained what encouraged him to put that program together.
I always had a passion for young people. You know, I knew when I was really little that after watching a lot of my friends and stuff killed growing up, like just countless friends killed, and then in 2016, my best friend, Cool Breeze, Leatrick Benjamin, was killed, and then after Devin was killed, March the 3rd, I was like, I gotta try to do something. You know, sitting around waiting for somebody else to do it, that's not working. So I don't have all the answers, but I think I could step up and try to do something.
He says he plans to host more events throughout the year for that program. Over in Greenwood, children were on the hunt for Easter eggs. The town of Greenwood teamed up with the Greenwood Support Agency and Daddy's Produce to put on that event. It's an event in memory of Eileen Fields. She was well known in the community for wanting to help out children and the elderly. And her family says she hosted an Easter egg hunt every year.
She was always there for everyone. So how could you forget a person who always took care of everyone else?
Families need to be together. The adults need to spend time with their kids, and that helps keep them on the right path and you know, steer them in the right direction.
Fields died just one day after Thanksgiving of 2021, but her family says they plan to continue her humanitarian efforts.
Well, coming up next, stick around. We'll go over once again your plans for Easter Sunday and how rain and storms may impact that day.
Plus, see how local musicians are helping lift spirits in the war-torn Ukraine. We'll have this story and more when we come back.
Well, good Saturday evening, everyone. Hope you guys had a fantastic day today. Thankfully, we did not see very many showers or storms today across the Arklatex. So some very good news made for a pretty good Saturday, despite all the cloud cover that we saw today. Now, tomorrow, another start to your day with cloud cover, 6 a.m. tomorrow morning. If you're headed out to an early church service, it's going to be dry by 6 a.m. Maybe a few isolated showers, but not a complete washout by any means. Just going to be a cloudy start start for most. Rain and storms start to move in as we head into the afternoon hours. Around noon, 1 o'clock, this will be near the I-30 corridor, and then pushing further to the south and west as we go throughout your afternoon into the later afternoon hours around 2:30. So around 2:30, this will be closer to I-20 and continue to move further to the south as we head towards the evening hours. The later afternoon, closer to the evening hour. So 4 o'clock, 4:30, showers still potentially around Bienville Parish, Natchitoches, over towards Wynne and Jackson Parish, but should be pushing on out as we head into the evening around 6 o'clock tomorrow night. 9 o'clock, things are looking nice and dry as well. So if you have any Easter plans, make sure to just keep an eye on radar. It's not going to be a rainy day completely throughout the entire day, but there are going to be some showers and maybe a couple of strong to severe storms that may impact any outdoor plans tomorrow. So for your Sunday, that marginal risk stretching from Texarkana, Magnolia, Arkansas into East Texas, in this little pocket here, northwest Louisiana, Claiborne Parish, Bienville, Natchitoches, back towards Caddo and DeSoto, parts of DeSoto Parish, looking at that slight risk, the level 2 out of 5. Tornado threat remains low, so some good news there, but still going to keep an eye on that. But the main concern will be for damaging wind gusts and for large hail, specifically in that area where we're seeing that slight risk for severe weather. So you want to make sure that you have the KSLA First Alert Weather app with you as you go throughout tomorrow, so that way you can easily take a look at radar. It's free, Google Play Store and App Store. Again, you can open that up, take a look at radar, track where the showers and the storms are, and get the latest updates from me here in the app. So it's going to be good to have as you plan out your day tomorrow. Temperature wise, 60s for the morning hours around 6 a.m. If you're near I-30 or north where it's a little bit cooler up there, temperatures will start in the 50s, but we'll all warm up into the upper 60s to low 70s tomorrow afternoon. And in the evening hours, we'll look at north winds at around 10-11 miles per hour during the evening part of the day. Now the next 12 hours here, temperatures low 70s around 11, upper 60s around the overnight hours. Tonight, unfortunately, we do have a lot of cloud cover here across the Arklatex, but that's going to hinder us from seeing the rare pink moon that's full tonight here across the United States. Now, snapshot of Wednesday, because I pointed that out, and I'm about to point that out on the 7-day forecast. We do have chances for rain once again here across the Arklatex. Now let's take a look at your First Alert 7-day forecast. Again, rain on Sunday, but will be dry Monday and Tuesday. More rain Wednesday, a bit drier on Thursday, but take a look at those temperatures. Friday and Saturday will be in the upper 80s, near 90 degrees.
As the war in Ukraine intensifies, musicians are using their talents to bring comfort to a crisis-stricken population. CNN's Rafael Romo spoke to one rock star about how he's hoping to make people forget about the horrors of the war, even if it's just for a moment.
There was the orchestra that performed a concert for peace in a public square in the middle of the day, in spite of the danger of an airstrike. And the cellist who defied the invaders by playing his instrument in front of bombed-out buildings. And who can forget the little girl with the sweetest voice who made those around her forget they were in a bomb shelter? One by one, singers and musicians in Ukraine have defied the Russians by using their talent to unite a nation and soothe a terrified population.
We love singing.
The most famous one is Sviatoslav Bararchuk, better known as Slava, whom some call the Ukrainian Bruce Springsteen.
Dignity and freedom are basic values.
At the beginning of the invasion, Slava could have chosen to flee the country. Instead, he decided not only to stay, but to visit terrified civilians like these people seeking shelter in a Kharkiv subway station. You went to a subway station by yourself where there were many people and unannounced, and you started singing. Why did you do something like that? The whole idea, Slava says, is to help people forget, even if it is for a fleeting moment, about the horror of war.
Imagine somebody like me comes and say, "Hey guys, everything is fine. Let's sing together. Let's have some fun.
Let's forget for a moment that we're at war."
Yeah, this is it.
And so he's visited hospitals like this one in Mykolaiv to cheer up victims of a rocket attack, survivors of an airstrike at a train station in Kramatorsk, and troops on the front lines. Songs, Slava says, are his answer to Russian bullets. Empathy and goodwill are more powerful than any bomb.
Ukrainians are one of the most, the freest nations in the world. We have this gene of freedom in our DNA. That's why probably many Americans instinctively, intuitively support us now.
In the streets, people greet him and ask for pictures. Slava happily obliges and takes the opportunity to give everybody the same message: everything will be all right, which happens to be the title of one of his songs, his most popular nowadays. I hope that everything is going to be all right for everybody, the song says. Our time is going to come. Rafael Romo, CNN, Lviv, Ukraine.
Well, the doors of the White House are reopening to the public. These visits were placed on hiatus in early 2020 due to the COVID-19 pandemic. And the White House says face masks will be available for those who request one. Also, the White House's Easter egg roll is also returning. It's set to happen on Monday, and it'll be the first egg roll of the Biden administration. They were canceled in 2020 and 2021 due to the pandemic. Evangel and Calvary Baptist played today with state power rankings on the line. Plus, LSU softball was looking for its first SEC sweep of the season. James Hadnon has the updates from both contests coming up next in sports.
Well, good evening once again. A non-district doubleheader started up today with Evangel and Calvary Baptist, two teams that were looking to help their power rankings. We start in the top of the fourth inning. Calvary down a run when Fox Lott gets just enough of this pitch for a base hit. 1 run scores. It's a tie ball game, 2 apiece. Later in the fourth, Mason Woodle would untie the contest, crushes one to deep center field, an RBI double for him. Calvary takes the lead over Evangel. But the Eagles respond in the bottom of the fourth frame. Isaac Erickson hits an absolute laser to left, and a run scores all the way from first. That's how deep that ball was hit. The score tied once again. Still in the bottom of the fourth, Bryce Wilson belts one into center. The go-ahead run comes home, and Evangel wins over Calvary 4 runs to 3. The Eagles seem to always be in close games, and head coach Tim Hewlett explains why this team has been so successful in these types of situations.
When we're behind, we're not playing for the big inning. We're not trying to put up a 3 or 4 spot. We're just trying to score 1 run at a time and make the game close. So at the end of the game, if it's close, we've got great team speed. We handle the bat well. We hit behind runners. We bunt well. We do a lot of good things. So we're not really out there trying to hit a 3-run homer. We're out there trying to maybe bunt, move a guy over, take an extra base, and just take advantage of those things and put a lot of pressure on the other team.
Although today's contest didn't affect district standings for either team, the win for Evangel helps them in their state power rankings, which affects where they can be seated in the playoffs. Well, we showed you earlier that final score between LSU and Arkansas. They get the sweep, does Arkansas, over the Tigers in this contest. And earlier today, Louisiana Tech won 2 games versus Marshall. 11-5 the final score of that second game. And head coach Lane Burroughs earned his 300th win in his coaching career after getting those 2 wins. So congratulations to Coach Burroughs. Moving to some college softball this morning, LSU looked for the sweep against South Carolina. Bottom of the first, Tigers up 1-0 with bases loaded. The Gamecocks also turned 2 to end the inning, but the throw sails off to the right. Georgia Clark and Taylor Pleasant score, while Newland gets to second. 3-0 LSU in the lead. Shelby Sunseri pitched the entire game, allowing 5 hits, 1 walk, and striking out 4, but she also showed off her strength, doing damage on the offensive end, hits the home run. That's her 13th of the year and her 46th of her career. The Purple and Gold would need all 7 innings to get the win. A pair of RBI doubles from Newland, followed up by this dagger from Megan Redowdy, ends it in 6. LSU wins the game 8-0. It's their first SEC sweep of the season.
will continue to stay in the low 80s. So a lot of warm days coming up, Destiny and James.
There we go. Yeah, because we have the rain, we have all the kind of all the other type of weather. So I'm a big heat person. I like it hot. I'd rather be hot than cold. So happy that the weather's going to be heating up.
Yeah, it was nice and humid today, so hopefully once that storm passes through, that'll cool off a little bit. Yeah. Well, thanks so much for joining us tonight. We'll be back in the morning with our morning crew.
Stay first aware on the latest news and weather from KSLA News 12 for free on Roku, Amazon Fire, and Apple TV apps. Sponsored by Highland Eye Clinic. Schedule your eye appointment today.